Howdy, with this video, I want to go over the response number 2 assignment, make sure you see where everything is and what the responses should start looking like as you're responding to the literature. Response number 2 is due on Monday, January 25th, and it's going to be on Plato's The Myth of the Cave. That reading is located on the content page for the course. If you go to content and down to readings, viewings, you can click on Plato's Myth of the Cave right there and it'll pop it up. And if you've never read Plato before, he tends to write in what are called dialogues. And generally, he has Socrates, the great Greek philosopher from 2,400 years ago, who likes to go around and just approach people on the street and just annoy the crap out of them, basically, for the most part. We got kind of a milder dialogue here, but you're going to see the main character is Socrates. He's the great philosopher, and Glaucon's kind of a student who's trying to learn something from him. And Socrates is starting to get into those ideas of truth and how we can apprehend truth and live by it that we talked about in the previous video. But you're going to see they're going to be talking to each other. Glaucon sometimes has trouble keeping up, which so might we sometimes, right? Because Socrates is a few steps ahead of most of us. But hopefully, once you get into it, you can kind of keep up and see what Socrates is getting out there. For the response, we're going to go back to the content page. And the responses are here under responses. I'm going to move that up, I think. The response number 1 was the syllabus quiz. Response number 2 is here on Plato. And generally what you're going to get with the responses, I'm going to go and download that real quick, is a little bit of a lecture, maybe kind of a lot of a lecture depending on the particular response. And then the prompts for the response papers are at the end of that response. We're not downloading here. Okay, we'll do it in D2L. Make that full screen for you. With this one, it's kind of up to you if you want to read the response first and read Plato's dialogue, or read Plato's dialogue and read the response. But one, like with this one, I kind of give you a little drawing there of what the cave actually looks like. You'll see in that on the very first page, Socrates kind of gives this very vivid image of a cave and what it looks like, and it's kind of fun to look at that and try to figure out what Socrates is getting at. You're probably going to generally get some notes with these or lecture with the responses. This one's fairly short, just kind of giving you a possible analogy to what Socrates is talking about. Now we can apply it to our own lives. Then we kind of get into the actual response itself. For this part, I just want to kind of pause for a minute, think about what Socrates is saying, and give an example from your own life about what he's saying. And then you're going to write about that. All these responses are generally going to be about 150 words if they're written formal ones like this one. You should employ MLA formatting. We didn't do that intro paragraph assignment, but I'll show you how that should look here in just one second. You should quote at least once from Plato. It's the only work we're reading for this one. And you should format this as an MLA formatted document. It should come to me in Word. Don't use PDF or Pages. I can't mark those up and send those back. And basically, here's the prompt. You're going to take your thoughts and compare your experience to the cave image that Socrates draws for us, and kind of go through some of those questions. Make sure you're doing this in paragraph form. Don't just give me a bullet list answering each question. That's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for you to develop a paragraph based on these questions. And tell us what you're thinking there about how something in your life might match up to what Socrates is saying. That's the response. Should be at least 150 words. That does not count quotes. May sound like a lot, but it's just kind of a pretty decent paragraph. You're not going to come up with a perfect interpretation of Socrates or something like that. People have been arguing about this for 2,400 years, right? But hopefully you're going to kind of see how it might apply to your life and how things might work that way. When you're creating the response, if you need to see an example of it, going back to the content page, and we're going to come down to help resources. And there's a sample response right there. See if I can download this one. It doesn't want to let me download. Oh, there it goes. Oh, there's the response. We're going to make this a little bit bigger. This is the way your responses and your essay should be formatted. This is what you should have learned in Comp 1 too. Straight out of the book. For MLA papers, there's no title page. The title page information is just on the first page, and it should be your name, my name, the class and section number, and the date. The date should be a month, day, month, and year, military style. Up here in the header should be your last name and the page number, and these page numbers should be counting. If you're not sure how to do that, I'll show you where you can see a video about how to create headers and things like that. You're going to center your title. Every one of these should have a title. It may not be some exciting title. It might be response number 2 or whatever. When we get to your essays, I'm going to start looking for something a little more creative. But for the responses, just response number 2 is fine. You indent for a paragraph and start doing your response. I'm not going to read this whole thing to you. You can go to the help resources page and read it. But it starts getting into make sure you introduce quotes, make sure you quote accurately, make sure you cite your quotes using the first word on the works cited page and a page number if you have one. Some of these will not have page numbers. There's a long quote, 4 or more lines, should be tabbed over twice. So the sample response paper just kind of goes over some basic formatting in MLA. And that's kind of what we're trying to do now, so that when we get to the first essay where 20% of the grade, you're feeling pretty comfortable with MLA formatting, and this will kind of be automatic with the formatting of the basic MLA formatting there. Make sure you have a works cited page. I'm going to send out an email telling you exactly how to do that Plato reading on the works cited page. If you're not sure how to do all this, you can go to the YouTube videos. And down here, how to create MLA documents in Word and upload it to the Dropbox, how to do it in Google Docs and upload it to the Dropbox. Google Docs gets a little tricky. Same thing with Pages if you're using a MacBook. You have to download or convert your document to a Word document or rich text format, whichever one works best for you, before you can upload that into the D2L Dropbox. You cannot upload directly from Google Docs. If you try, you're just going to end up crying. So you have a couple of help videos, the readings right there under readings and viewings, actual Plato reading, the response paper assignments right there, and if you want to look at that sample response, it's right there under help resources. Kind of seems maybe like everything's a little scattered, but most of this stuff you're going to do once or twice and pretty much have it down, and it's going to be kind of automatic for the rest of the semester. So I don't want those in too prominent a place. But if you have any questions about it, be sure and let me know. Again, that response number 2 is due on Monday the 25th by midnight. And again, I'm not actually up at midnight, so as long as it's there by 8 o'clock Tuesday morning, I'm happy. But those are kind of how the responses are going to go. We may not do formal 150-word written responses with every one of these. We might have a little more fun than that. But to get us started and get us prepared for the first essay, that's what we're going to do. If you have any questions, be sure to let me know, and we'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.